Talk about a classic case of the pot calling the kettle black. Justin Trudeau, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, stepping forward to accuse premiers in this country of threatening national unity. Him accusing them of doing this. And what's the backstory? Bill C-69, that highly controversial piece of legislation that a lot of expert observers say is going to make it almost impossible to build new oil and gas sector projects in this country. That's how high of a threshold they will be putting a whole bunch of environmental assessment rules attached to it. Now, the traditional lawmaking process in Canada typically unfolds where a political leader puts forward a piece of legislation and then it goes to committee, both for MPs in the House of Commons and in the Senate for senators to look at, and they hear testimony from a bunch of witnesses, and then they propose various amendments to the bill, sometimes a few dozen, maybe even 100 amendments. And the government adopts quite a number of them, and they moderate the bill. They take people's views into consideration. Well, the Senate has heard from a lot of people who are very concerned about this legislation, and they've proposed almost 200 amendments to this bill. And now Justin Trudeau, according to one government source speaking to the Canadian press, will have none of it, or almost none of it. They're planning to actually say no to about 90% of those amendments. Basically, most of the substantial ideas to try and improve this bill and get broad buy-in from all across society on this legislation, to both be responsible stewards for the environment, but to continue actually growing the economy and protecting jobs. Because just the other day, we had 4,000 people out in the streets in Alberta protesting this legislation. Regular folks who are saying they're worried about what it's going to mean for them and their families. So it's in this whole scene where Justin Trudeau makes these national unity accusations. Because 6 premiers signed a letter, sent it to Trudeau, said, if you don't accept these amendments, you are causing a national unity crisis. And you know what he does? He doesn't turn around and say, well, thank you for your letter, we'll take this into consideration. He turns around and tries to smack talk them and accuses them of threatening national unity by what? By drawing attention to the issue that caused the national unity problem in the first place. I mean, it's the classic case of the kindergartner saying, I know you are, but what am I? It's quite something that not only is he not willing to actually talk about amendments with this legislation, but he's pretty much vilifying anybody out there who wants to talk about it. And he's accusing others of creating national unity problems?